Hello tea friends. Today I'd like to talk about Pu-erh and more specifically about the difference between Sheng Puer and Shou Puer. In the West we call it raw Puer and ripe Puer. So what is the difference between these two teas? As you can see, they look very different. What makes them different and what makes them somewhat the same? Let's just dive into it and look at the production steps of puer making. So puer tea is usually made of Assamica varietal. These are big leaves growing in the southern region of China, also in Myanmar, in Vietnam, maybe some parts of Thailand, and sometimes there are Asian trees that grows for hundreds of years. These trees still exist. But the main point is that this is not tea bushes, the tea trees, not Camellia sinensis var sinensis, but Camellia sinensis var assamica. So people, collect the tea leaves from these trees and they wither them. After the leaves are being withered, they go through the stage called shaching. Basically, it can be loosely translated as kill green. The main point of this processing step is to slow down the oxidation inside of the leaf. So once leaves are subjected to high temperatures, the oxidation either halts or slows down depending on the temperature that you're subjecting these leaves to. So once they go through shaching, the leaves are being sun-dried, and then this is the stage where these leaves are called mao cha, which can be translated as crude or unfinished tea. So for both teas, for Shou and for Sheng Puer, at this point the steps are exactly the same. From here on, if we want to make Sheng Puer, we just press these leaves into cakes or into bricks or into tuocha, which is like a bird nest shape, or we can just leave it as mao cha, as loose leaf tea, and we leave it to age naturally over the course of years. And basically what happens, the oxidation, some microprocesses are still going on in these tea leaves, and with time the tea gets more rounded, the taste of it transforms, the sharper bitter notes, they slowly dissipate, and we get like a beautiful tea, that we can compare one year to another year, to 10th year to 20th year, and so on and so forth. And this aging, as I said, it goes naturally, and it takes many years. Some puers are 20, 30, 50 years old. So in 1970s, in the mid 1970s, tea makers, tea producers, they decided to speed up this process somehow. So basically, they created Shou Puer that is goes through these transformations much faster. So how they achieved it? Basically, how Shou Puer is made today is this mao cha. They put it into very warm, very humid environment, and they pile it up. So they make these like big piles of tea leaves of this mao cha, and they sprinkle it with water. Sometimes they also cover it with cloth, with linen cloth, to create this really warm, humid environment. And in this environment, a mixture of bacteria and fungus starts thriving, and it speeds up fermentation process. So what Shou Puer goes through in a course of 20-30 years, Shou Puer goes in a course of a couple of weeks. So once this tea gets like fermented by this bacteria, by this fungus, they also dry it, they press it into cakes, and here you are presented with Shou Puer. So let's just take a look at these two teas. So let's first unwrap Sheng Puer. And as you can probably see, it has like a greener color. Some leaves are brighter, some are darker. So this is a Sheng Puer. This is a young Sheng Puer. It was pressed in 2022. And here on the left we have Shou Puer, also of the same year of 2022. And as you can probably see, it is a much darker tea cake. You see, it is like brown, it has some golden leaves, it has some darker leaves, but overall the color is much darker. Here you can take a look at them side by side and just compare for yourself. So this is Sheng and Shou Puer. And if Sheng Puer, it goes through transformations. For Sheng Puer, it's kind of important how many years it's been aging, because this transformation goes very slowly. For Shou Puer, the most important transformation already happened during that wet piling stage. And as a result, we have this light color Sheng Puer and dark color Shou Puer. Now, if we age Sheng Puer for long enough, for 20, 30, 40 years, the brew will get darker and darker in color. Also, the tea cake will be getting darker and darker. And at the end, it will result in a much darker brew, in a very rounded, with very rounded taste. And with Shou Puer, no matter how many years you age it, there will be some transformation, don't get me wrong, but it will not be that obvious. The transformation will be very subtle. So, as I said, these two teas are very young teas, they're 2022. So let's compare the taste. So this is young Sheng Puer, and Sheng Puer normally it has, when it's young, it has some bitterness, pleasant bitterness, it has some astringency. So the pleasant bitterness is actually not bad quality of the tea. Behind this bitterness in good tea hides sweetness, and we call it huigan, return sweetness. So when you drink this tea, you take a sip. Initially, you feel a little bit of this bitterness. Once again, not unpleasant from the very beginning. A little bit unusual maybe to unseasoned drinker, but not unpleasant. But when you gulp it, when you sip it, you can feel sweetness behind this tea. So the notes that I'm picking from it are apricots, maybe like dried apricots. Fruits. I feel like this tea has notes of plums. It has like a bright fruity taste. And with years, if you decide to age this tea, which you don't have to necessarily do. With years, this bitterness, astringency, it will be slowly transforming and into sweetness. Mm. One of my favorite teas. So now let's try Shou Puer, ripe puer. Has no bitterness whatsoever. It is very smooth, very mellow. It has what I call like foresty notes. Um, like this particular tea, I can pick like lots of berries, like blueberries, raspberries, and also, well, this tea is very clean. Like I cannot show you the smell of the tea, but if you smell them, they smell very differently. So Shou Puer, because of the wet piling, it has sometimes this earthy smell. Sometimes it has a smell of like a basement. So if the smell is too strong, that's not a good thing. If the scent of like earthy tones are mild, this is normal. This is how this tea is supposed to be. So it has some of those earthy notes, which for unseasoned drinker may come a little bit unusual, but it's actually normal for this tea. Also for Sheng Puer, sometimes if they wanna expedite, so to say, this aging process, they keep it in what we call wet storage, especially popular in Malaysia, in Hong Kong, where humidity is high. So wet storage, it promotes this aging, it promotes the transformation of the tea, but as downside, it also creates this a little like smell of dampness, this earthy notes and so on and so forth. There are people that prefer dry storage, there are people that prefer wet storage. Also, another difference between Shou and Sheng Puer is that Sheng Puer, because of its briskness, of the high, harsh like notes, it can be a little bit strong on the stomach. It can be a little bit uncomfortable for stomach. And I have to say that we never recommend drinking tea on empty stomach. You always should have some food in it. Also, it's not good to drink tea right after a hearty meal, but you shouldn't be drinking it on empty stomach. Have a meal, wait for like an hour, hour and a half, then have tea. But Shou Puer is often very beneficial for stomach. It helps to break fats and it can help digestion. So Shou Puer is much easier on stomach. And Shou Puer is part of a bigger group that called Heicha, or dark tea, or black tea. So what we call black tea in the West is called red tea in China and in the East. And this type of tea they call Heicha. Pu-erh is a region specific name. Legally, only teas from Yunnan, from southern province of China, can be called Pu-erh, but similar teas can be made outside of China, like same Assamica trees are growing in Vietnam that's bordering with Yunnan, is growing in Burma, that's Myanmar, that's bordering with Yunnan. So there you can call it, if the tea has been made in those provinces, in those countries, you can call it Shou Puer, you can call Heicha, and unfortunately there is no good name for Sheng Puer, so I guess you can just call it Shen. Also, Shou Puer, I'm sorry, Heicha is made in other provinces, let's say in Yan, and the processing is a little bit different, and also interesting teas like Liu Bao, like Tibetan tea, and we recommend trying these teas as well and comparing them to Pu-erh from Yunnan. So I hope this video cleared out this subject a little bit, and we invite everybody to try these tasty teas. You can find them in our shop. Sign up to our channel, subscribe, put a like, and we'll see you with our next videos. Thank you. Bye bye. Cheers.